Good evening. This is week 3 of Social Work 633, Social Work with Families. The focus for this week is on Bowenian family systems theory. So let's first look at the learning resources. For this week, you are looking at readings from the text, Chapter 4, Bowen Family Systems Theory, a reading by McGoldrick et al. On genograms, and then information on standard symbols for genograms, because this week we will be working with genograms. Additionally, you are to choose at least two articles from this group of articles. I would say to you that if you're interested in issues of race, gender, and ethnicity, you might want to look at the McGoldrick article, because there's also her website. She does a lot of work in this area. And Pender Hughes, who is a premier author in terms of looking at social work and African Americans. There are two websites for you to take a look at. One is the Bowen Center for the Study of the Family, and then the Multicultural Family Institute, which is Monica McGoldrick's work. There is a video that you have to look at for this week because it is the basis for one of the discussion posts. So it's on the legacy of unresolved loss, and we are looking at the Rogers family and issues related to the Rogers family. And the next video is how to make a genogram, and again, you will be doing that this week. There's a reminder that for week 4, you will actually be doing your family of origin theory paper, so it's suggested that you start on that in week 3. There are 2 discussion posts for the week. The first discussion post is for you to do the following. Describe 2 helpful takeaways from the 2 articles that you chose to read. Looking at the shared case of Anita, answer the following. Describe how Bowen would explain the difficulty that Anita is having parenting her son at the age of 13, and describe one intervention that Bowen might use with this family. And your initial prompt is due by Thursday, and your responses are due between Friday and Sunday. The next discussion post is based on the video that you were required to look at. So answer the following. What was one intervention that McGoldrick provided that you can envision yourself doing in your work with a family? What is one of the triangles present in the family, and how did McGoldrick work to de-triangulate one of the members? And what is one other example of how McGoldrick coached a family member to be more differentiated? Your initial post is due Thursday, and again, follow-up is due between Friday and Sunday. There are 2 written assignments for this week. The first is a continuation of your family therapy theory grid. This week, the focus is on Bowen family systems theory. The second is the construction of an actual genogram. So please take a look at that video. In your major assignments, there are instructions on creating that video. The instructions say to complete the upload in Word. In the past, students have often done the genogram, taken pictures of the genogram, and sent them as images. So either way, I will accept it. If it's actually uploaded in Word, then I can comment directly on the genogram. If you do it in terms of sending a picture, then I will just send those comments. So to talk about, and there's also, as always, each week there's a self-care activity that is not graded. So to talk a little bit about Bowenian family systems theory, Bowen is one of the first to push that we can't work with individuals without understanding them in the context of their families. Families are the basic emotional unit that we all come from, and families are an interconnected system. Individuals can't be, therefore, understood in isolation. Everyone has a role to play in the family and rules, and they must be respected. We respond to each other based on those roles and rules and relationship agreements. Patterns start to develop based on member behavior and cause members of the family to react in fairly predictable ways. Maintaining those patterns can lead to balance, but can also lead to dysfunction within the family. And there are 8 different key concepts in Bowen's family systems theory. One is triangles, where one side of the family is in conflict with 2 other sides, and those 2 other sides function in harmony. Differentiation of self is a key concept. The nuclear family as an emotional system. Family projection process. Multi-generational transmission process, which is, again, the use of the genogram that was developed by Bowen. Emotional cutoff, position of the siblings in the family, and societal emotional processes. Major problems in a family can be traced often to emotional fusion. So the goal is the differentiation of self, which is based on degree of autonomy in the family and the quality of relationships. Interventions in this theoretical approach include the use of the genogram, neutralizing the triangles, asking process questions, using relationship experiments where the goal is to help the family members be aware of processes and their role in them. The therapist as the coach who avoids taking over for the family and staying away from family triangles. Taking I positions, meaning speaking for self versus trying to project onto others what it is that you feel, and then displacement stories. So if you have questions, please ask them as quickly as possible. I look forward to reading your written work for this week, both the discussion post and your written submissions and your genograms. Have a wonderful week.